Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. That you could all join us this fine Friday morning. Hope everyone is doing well and hope everyone also had a great week as well. So, yes, we're a good number now, so we can be able to start. So, hello everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Mitch Kanier, and I'm a trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, during these webinars, we as a Afriforex team, we analyze the markets, we identify what trading opportunities we will be looking at taking for the day, and we do share that information with you. So we do have John in the back office, so I'm not here alone. So he'll be here to assist you in whatever questions or queries you might have. So feel free to ask those questions either in the Q&A section or in the chat box. John will be able to respond to you whenever you ask the question. But remember, if you'd like me to address any question, kindly ask those questions on the Q&A section. And I will be addressing all those questions at the end of the webinar. So I guess we can jump straight into it. So as usual, we'll start off sharing my screen. So yesterday, let's start off with our watch list. So yesterday, we were looking for buying opportunities, as you can see, on the Swiss franc, the US dollar, the euro, as well as the Japanese yen. And today, there's just been a slight change where the US dollar has moved to the sell side. So we will be focusing on this buying opportunities on the Swiss franc, the euro, as well as the Japanese yen. And we're going to mix and match these three pairs with all the pairs on the sell side. So that's the New Zealand dollar, the British pound, the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, as well as the US dollar. Now, in terms of fundamentals changing, or at least what news we end up expecting today, as you can see, there's not really been much news. We had some yen news earlier in the morning, not really much of a change, but we do have some US dollar news later on. So you can see no news coming out during the London session, but during the US session, we have quite a bit of some US dollar news and so as well as some Canadian dollar news. So do make sure that if you are in on any trades, you might find the markets moving at that time, or you could find some things changing on the watch list. But however, our watch list will be remaining the same for now. So let's first jump into the pairs that we're looking at yesterday, but we're not going to be focusing on today. We look at what we could have done better, what we could have done, or at least avoided to do. Before we do look at a few screenshots, then we will jump on to today's pairs. So since our focus has, or at least we're looking at the US dollar pairs to mix and match them with a few pairs on the sell side yesterday, today they're not going to be pairs that we're going to be looking at because the US dollar is going to be on the same side with these pairs. So starting off with the review pairs, we did have the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. And remember, we on this currency pair yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the three areas John had pointed out. And you can also see the illustration that he had actually pointed out where we wanted to see, since the price looked as if it had already reached this area to the downside, what we're expecting is possibly some sort of probe coming in and the price coming back in and holding below. So in this situation, we did end up getting that probe where the price managed to come back in, showing confirmation that this level was actually holding. And you can see the market continued coming down throughout the London session. But as you can see, during the US session at 3 o'clock, the price was all the way down at the bottom here. During the US session, you can see the market has jumped into some sort of range, just bouncing between this level and this level right here, where you can see we've not necessarily gone anywhere. And that's the reason why there's a pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. But it did work out pretty nicely yesterday. So moving on to the next pair for review, we did have the British pound against the US dollar. Similar situation, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Seems that the market spiked, nearly all of them, the US dollar pairs at around 11 o'clock. As you can see, initially at 10, the price was within a bias area. We did not want to jump in on any selling opportunities unless we did get up some sort of pullback. And you can see the price managed to go all the way close to the extreme area before the market really came down aggressive. This would have been a bit difficult to get, but maybe going down to a smaller time frame, there was that possibility. But if you did miss that trade, you can see later on during the US session, once the market reached the downside at 3 o'clock, it was holding below. Once we did get the pullback, showing confirmation that the price was holding within this particular area, where you can clearly see the price was not able to break this area to the upside and hold above. That confirmed that this level was still holding to the downside. You can see later on, around 8 o'clock or so, the market did start continuing to go down lower. But unfortunately for us today, there's a pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. Now, moving on to the next pair for review. We did have the Australian dollar against the US dollar. Now, on this kind of pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the three areas John had pointed out. Now, there was a small selling opportunity that did end up coming in. Let's see, at 10 o'clock, the market did actually confirm that it was holding to the downside. where we did breach down lower. You can see we did get a confirmation where the market did end up giving us some sort of pullback. There was a small selling opportunity. This is a trade setup actually. We did end up taking during the Afriforex amplified program, which remember we do end up analyzing the charts with you guys every London session to look for trading opportunities. So this is a nice one, is to do trade quick in and out that we did manage to get. But the trade only worked out during the London session, because you can see from 10 o'clock, the price was continuing to come down. But from 3, that's when the price actually turns coming to the upside. Remember, we keep on mentioning the market opening times, 10, 3, and 4:30. So those are the times that you should end up managing your trade. So if you're not trading during the London session, do make sure you manage it during the US session or just before the US market opens, just in case the US big boys decide to do something else. But you can see it did work out during the London session, but during the US session, you can see the price seeming to attempting to come to the upside. But unfortunately for us today, this is a pair that's going to be off our watch list. So hope that's clear as we move on to the last pair for review, which is the US dollar against Canadian dollar. Now, this one did end up working out during the London session. Similar situation to most of these US dollar pairs, where you can see the market did manage to break this area to the upside during the Frankfurt market open. That's at 9 o'clock. Where you can see once the price went to the upside, remember, we always say we want a pullback coming in, showing us confirmation that the price is holding above, which you can see it did exactly that, giving us a buying opportunity during the London session. Now, you can see from 3 o'clock, the price at 3 was at this highest point. So if you did end up managing your trade, you can see you would have exited very, very nicely if you did manage your trade before the next session did come in. But you can see later on, the price came down, held below. So unfortunately, did end up giving us some issues, even though we can see it still managed to pull back towards the same support and resistance area later on at around 8 o'clock, where you can see the price has attempted to end up bouncing to the upside. But you can clearly see we do seem to be in some sort of range right now. So that's the reason why this is a pair that's going to be off our watch list for today. So that's it for the review pairs. So hope you did end up taking advantage or learning from what we could have done, or at least learning from the experience of what happened yesterday, because that's the only way you'll end up improving as a trader, realizing what you did before so you can improve later on. That's why we always encourage you guys to review trades. And that's why we always ask if you can end up actually sending in your screenshots, because that will also help you, where you can look back at your trades and see what you could have done better. So we'll end up jumping in to look at a few screenshots. There weren't that many. So here we'll start off with Alice. So Alice, you did manage to grab a very nice selling opportunity on the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Guess once the market did end up reaching and holding below. It's a pair we've just had a look at. You can see the price did manage to continue coming down lower very nicely. The stop loss is below your entry. But in this situation, you need to be slightly careful, because remember, as the market comes down, you can see there was a support and resistance area right there, where the market did bounce up and go to the upside. So once the market reached down lower, there's a possibility this market can still pull back to that area before coming down. So you don't necessarily want to put your stop loss too close, because you could end up getting stopped out, then you find the market continuing to go. You don't necessarily want to do that, because that will not necessarily make you feel really good. So do end up making sure, if in this situation, give at least the trade a bit of space to actually move. So don't necessarily move your stop loss too close to price, because you don't want to squeeze the market. But either way, very, very well done on this trade, Alice. So next, did not necessarily get that many, but I did manage to grab a selling opportunity. This is a trade that I did manage to get. This is one of the trades that also we did end up managing to grab during the AMP program. So we did grab a very nice selling opportunity on the British pound against the Swiss franc. Did manage to come down very nicely, and during the US session, we did manage to pull back. Fortunately, could not get the trade, or at least put the setup just before the trade was over. But you can see the trade worked out very nicely. But remember, guys, if you do manage to take any setups based on things that we do share, feel free to send them in to us. Our contact details should be in the chat box. So let's jump straight into it today. So we'll start off with the Swiss franc pairs, mix and match them with the pairs on the sell side, do the same thing with the euro as well as the Japanese yen, before we do have a look at the indices as well as gold and silver. So we'll start off with the Swiss franc pairs. So we'll have the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, yesterday, our bias here was to look for selling opportunities. This was another setup that we did manage to end up getting yesterday as well during the AMP. So remember, if you are interested in joining the AMP program, do feel free. There should be a link there in the chat box, or at least go to our website as well, afriforex.com. but you definitely should find a link there. So yesterday, our bias here was to look for sells. You can see at 10 o'clock, the market did manage to break this area to the downside, quite aggressive. And you can see there was a pullback, confirming the price was actually holding below. And you can see later on, the market did manage to continue coming down very, very nicely all the way till the US session. You can see at 3 o'clock, that's when the market did end up turning before actually going to the upside. So there was a very nice trading opportunity we got yesterday. So today, bias here is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we have adjusted the level slightly. So we'll be focusing on selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. You can see we do have a support and resistance area here. Once the market did breach this area to the downside, you can still see we got a market pulling back towards this area. And you can see, Alice, the way I did mention, if you did end up grabbing your selling opportunity within this particular area and the price was already down, even if you just put your stop loss right there, you can clearly see you could have easily gotten stopped out before the market continued going down. So that's the reason why we also say, let's give your trade a bit of space to actually move. So today, remember, bias is going to be looking for sell. Let's hope to see if we can end up either getting some sort of pullback coming in within this particular area, maybe getting some sort of probe or price action signal, inciting a few people to look for buying opportunities before we're able to look for those sells on the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. We'll be waiting to see what happens. If this level doesn't hold, we'll wait to see whether or not the price can get all the way to this extreme area for us to look for selling opportunities within that location. So hope that's clear on the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. As we move on to the next Swiss franc pair we did have, which is the British pound against the Swiss franc. This is a pair that we did manage to grab. We can clearly see we were looking for selling opportunities. 10 o'clock, the price actually confirmed earlier on. So let's say if we go down to the 3-minute time frame to actually look at what happened when the price was approaching that area within the market opening time. So you can see at 10, where the price did manage to actually break this area to the downside. You can see on the pullback, the price actually held above. And you can see that exactly 10 o'clock, you could have jumped in on a nice selling opportunity there, coming all the way till the downside throughout the London session. But you can see at 3 o'clock during the US session, that's when the market did actually start turning around. So we did end up getting a very nice opportunity yesterday during the London session. So today, the bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we're focusing on these 3 areas. So aggressive sellers all the way at the top. So as long as we're holding below the red support and resistance area, our bias is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. You can see we're within a support and resistance area here. Let's see if we can end up getting the way this market is coming up within this particular area, some sort of probe or price action signal where the price actually shows us evidence that the sellers are interested and the buyers are not necessarily as interested. We could end up looking for a selling opportunity. And remember to watch out for those specific times, 10, 3, or 4:30. Could end up finding the market approaching all the way till the bottom right here. So do make sure you manage your trade within this location. If the price is able to break and hold below, we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on the British pound against the Swiss franc. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening. You can see also one thing to note, the fact that we have this level right here can also identify there's some sellers who did end up pushing within this particular area. You can see the market did end up spiking towards that location. So don't be surprised if you find the price even as approaching that area before actually coming down. So do watch out for that on the British pound against the Swiss franc. So moving on to the next Swiss franc pair we do have, this is Australian dollar against Swiss franc. Yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Similar situation to today. You can see yesterday, similar situation with the British pound against the Swiss franc, and you can see that correlation. At 10 o'clock, the price did confirm to us that it had breached this area and was holding below. So could have looked for a selling opportunity throughout the London session where you can see it did out very, very well. You can see the reason, one of the main reasons why it worked out during the London session, because you can see we are dealing with the Swiss franc pair. Swiss franc pair, even though it could move during any session, it has a high probability of moving during the London session because that's when they're most active. You can see similar situation at 3. We did end up getting a pullback, and the pullback did come in a bit aggressive. At least it started off aggressive, but if you notice how the buyers are coming in now, so first move to the upside was very, very strong. But now you can see as the market did end up giving a pullback, look at how long it's taking the buyer just to get towards the same particular high. So overall, we'll still be looking for selling opportunity, but the determining factor where we'll no longer be looking for sales is this red support and resistance area. The price breaches and falls above this red SNR, this pair will fall off our watch list. But well, let's wait to see. You will see right now the fact that the buyers are coming in slowly. Let's see if we can end up getting some sellers being interested, coming in aggressively for us to look for those selling opportunities. Do make sure you manage your trade first within this first problem area. We are able to get the price breaching and holding below this location. then we should be able to target all the way till the low. So let's wait and see what happens. If we do end up getting possibly some sort of probe, some price action signal within there before the market actually ends up coming down. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening on the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. But you can see also the correlation that's coming in for all the Swiss franc pairs worked out very nicely during the London session from exactly 10. But from 3 o'clock, that's when the markets did end up starting to give some aggressive pullbacks. So moving on to the next currency pair that we do have. Here we have the Canadian dollar against Swiss franc. We can see it's like something like a broken record. At 10 o'clock, we can see the price did manage to just break this area to the downside and hold below, giving us a selling opportunity at 10 or during the London session. We can see later on at 3 o'clock, the price was at the lowest point before it did end up giving us a pullback. So it did work out very nicely during the London session, not as much during the US session, but today the bias is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we'll focus on these three areas. You can see the way the buyers had come in, did start coming in quite aggressive within this particular area. So we did end up seeing the buyers coming in very aggressive. There was a pullback. The next push of the buyer seemed to struggle, not able to make a new high. And right now, the buyer's attempt does seem to be struggling quite a bit. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening. But remember, even though the buyers are struggling here, we need to see strong sellers, some sort of move to the upside. And if the sellers come in aggressive, then we could end up looking for selling opportunities then. But right now, if you don't see those aggressive sellers, you could easily find this market breaking to the upside and we could end up coming back all the way to this extreme area for us to look for the sells, but also be aware that we do end up having some support and resistance areas within these locations, or areas where the sellers did start pushing down from. This was where the location they did start pushing down from yesterday. So you could end up finding the market actually giving us some sort of breach to the upside. When it does this, most likely, most people will be incited that it's for a buy. And at that point in time, if you see the sellers coming down aggressive, you could end up looking, or at least getting the price actually holding below, could end up looking for a selling opportunity as well on the Canadian dollar against Swiss franc. But let's end up seeing what ends up happening both either during the London session or during the US session. So hope that's clear. If we move on to the last currency pair we do have on the Swiss franc pairs, which is the US dollar against Swiss franc. These are brand new entry on our watch list because remember the US dollar and the Swiss franc were both on the same side yesterday. So overall, here we will be looking for selling opportunities on the US dollar against Swiss franc. You can see the market, 3 o'clock, we didn't end up getting that pullback coming in, but it's a similar situation. The buyers don't necessarily look as strong, but at the same time, we need to see those strong sellers coming in. So for now, let's wait to see what ends up happening. You can see we have probed here multiple times where the price has managed to go all the way to that particular area. If we do end up seeing something similar, we could end up looking for a selling opportunity. If we don't see anything within this particular support and resistance area where the price actually reaches and holds above, let's wait to see if we can end up getting the pullback all the way to the extreme area where the red support and resistance area is for us to look for selling opportunities there. So let's wait to see what ends up happening on these Swiss franc pairs. So I hope that's clear. As you can see, we'll mix and match the Swiss franc pairs with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now we're going to move on to the euro pairs and do the exact same thing. So we'll start off here with the euro against the New Zealand dollar. The euro pairs did work out quite well yesterday. You can see in this situation, we were looking for buying opportunities yesterday. During the London session, we were within this seller's area. Remember, what we wanted was either a pullback or a breach to the upside, right? You can see it did. The pullback did not necessarily come in as aggressive, but remember, we can also end up going down to a smaller time frame to see what exactly happened. So you can see within this area, you do end up getting a bit more detail, where you can clearly see at 10, which was within this particular area. The buyers attempted to come up, and you can see the way the buyers came in. Sellers did slow down, but once the price reaches area to the upside, and you can see the price was holding above, could have actually ended up looking for a buying opportunity then. So that's when they did end up giving us the confirmation to go to the upside. So the trade worked out very nicely during the London session, where you can see it did manage to go to the upside. During the US session, we did get a slight pullback. So you can see from 3 o'clock where the price was, it was within this particular area, did get a slight pullback coming in, and you can see the price did end up pulling back. Unfortunately, could not get all the way to this extreme area. But you can note when the market turned, what time it was. It was just before just after 4:30, once the New York Stock Exchange being open, and you can see the price did manage to continue going to the upside. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. We'll be focusing on these three areas of interest. Right now, if you realize we're within an area where there are sellers, so this is not a good place to look for buying opportunities. And you can see the aspect that we keep on pointing out. We do get a breach. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting a hold above. We do end up getting a hold above, could have actually looked for buying opportunities then. But you can clearly see, even though the market has gone to the upside, it never held above, it came back in and has held below. So maybe what could end up happening at the moment could end up starting to get some sort of pullback coming in. So let's see if we can end up getting this pullback coming in towards this particular support and resistance area, seeing some sort of slowdown of the sellers before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. Within this particular area here, we don't see any reaction within that location. Remember, we'll still be looking for buys as long as we're holding above this red support and resistance area. So we'll wait to see what happens if we can get the price even coming all the way to the lower side. If it does, be aware this will actually be much better for it to come to the extreme area because that gives you more space to the upside in terms of your risk to reward. Where you'll be entering your trade, your stop loss won't necessarily need to be too far. And at the same time, there's a lot of profit potential on those trades. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So hope that's clear as we move on to the next euro pair. Here in this situation, we have the euro against the British pound. Here we are looking for buying opportunities, and you can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Initially, the price was within a buyer's area. Wanted to see how the market was actually going to react. We're hoping to see whether or not we could end up inciting a few sellers before the buyers came in. But you can see in this situation, the price actually ended up going to the upside, showing some strong buyers. We did end up getting a pullback where the markets did actually manage to take off during the London session. Now, if we did end up missing that trade, luckily on the euro against the British pound, we did actually end up being able to get the pullback all the way to the extreme. Remember, the euro against the New Zealand dollar did not get all the way to this particular location. And you can see around the same time, around 4:30, going to 4:45, just after the New York Stock Exchange opened. You can see the price did give us a pullback, showed us confirmation that the price is actually holding above, and there was a very nice buying opportunity to take this price to the upside. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. So right now we're within an area where the sellers, so definitely not a good place to look for your buying opportunities just yet. Hopefully we can end up getting this pullback coming in, even one of these two areas, the aggressive area all the way at the bottom, or we could end up coming back towards this support and resistance area here. So right now, since you can see this is an area that was breached, so let's hope to see, you can see the correlation coming in with all these euro pairs. We can end up getting some sort of probe or price action signals that the price actually ends up holding within this particular area, can end up looking for buys. If not, then chances are we could even be coming all the way to this extreme area, or watch out for other support and resistance areas. If this level doesn't hold, we could end up coming down lower, might not necessarily get all the way to the extreme. So also watch out for certain locations like right here. There does seem to be a small support and resistance area. Can see to the resistance, can support, can resistance. So right now, the price is above it. It is a support area. So if this level doesn't hold, we could end up seeing the price coming back towards this extreme before looking for those buying opportunities. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening on the euro against the British pound. So moving on to the next euro pair. Here we have the euro against the Australian dollar. In this situation, yesterday our bias was to look for buying opportunities. The buys did work out quite well, and you can see the similar correlation during the London session. At 10 o'clock, we did get the market breaking this area to the upside. It did give us a buying opportunity then, where it did manage to go all the way up. But you can see at 3 o'clock during the US market open, the price did end up coming down quite aggressive. And we've seen this happen on a lot of the Australian dollar pairs. We'll wait to see what ends up happening. Right now, the fact that the price has come back towards the buyer's area, and at least what we're seeing is these sellers who are very strong. You can see they did end up getting a pullback. And right now, the next attempt to come down lower does seem to be quite weaker, especially if you compare how the market ended up coming down in this particular area. So let's wait to see what ends up happening. So in this situation, we'll still be looking for buying opportunities as long as we're holding above this red support and resistance area. The price breaches and falls below this red SNR. Remember, this pair will fall off our watches. What you might find the market doing is possibly even just ranging between these two levels, where you could end up finding the market bouncing between these areas before it actually continues going down. But we'll wait to see what ends up happening. But overall, we'll still be looking for buyers within this particular area. The price breaches and holds below. Remember, there is no trade for us, and this pair will fall off our watch list. Do make sure if you do manage to grab a buying opportunity, we'll wait to see whether or not we can end up getting the buyers showing up within this particular area. You get a buying opportunity, make sure you manage your trade within this location, just in case we are ranging. But if we are able to get the price breaching this particular area and the price actually holds above, we should be able to continue looking for our buying opportunities on the euro against the Australian dollar. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening on this currency pair. Now, moving on to the next euro pair, we do have the euro against the Canadian dollar. Similar situation. Yesterday, our bias was to look for buying opportunities. Worked out pretty nicely during the London session. You can see it during the London session at 10 o'clock. Price was within this bias area where there was a buying opportunity then. We did miss that opportunity. You can see later on, once the price broke this area to the upside, you can see we did get a pullback, showed us that price was actually holding above. So around going to midday, and you can see there was a very nice buying opportunity then. But similar situation at exactly 3 o'clock, price was at the highest point, and you can see the pullback that did come in. This pullback came in very aggressive, and you can see the areas which we had highlighted where the price still ended up reacting within this particular location. And you can see, if you notice the time, that was at exactly 4:30 where the price was all the way down right here at the bottom. So there was another buying opportunity, and that's why we always point out, you're within a buyer's area. Let's say we're looking for buying opportunities like on this pair. When you see the market within a buyer's area within one of the market opening times, you could find that price actually moving to the upside. But be aware, you can see the market worked out very nicely, but was a bit risky to actually look for that buy. But you can see the buys did end up working out quite nicely. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for those buys. Even though you can see the sellers came down aggressive, the buyers came up equally as aggressive. So wait to see. We are looking for buying opportunities as long as we're holding above this red support and resistance area. Right now, it looked as if the market had breached this area to the upside. Can see the price coming down lower, but we don't know if this is an actual breach. Remember, in order for us to confirm it's an actual breach, we need the price actually holding below for us to, or at least see the market actually coming down, maybe where we can end up looking for buying opportunities here. But right now, what you could end up easily finding is that this market could end up actually probing. So you could find that this is a fake price where the price looks as if it's breaking to the downside when you find the price coming back in. And if you do see the price holding above within this particular location, could end up looking for those buying opportunities, making sure to manage our trade all the way to the top where these sellers did end up holding the market. But remember, the price holds below, we need to be patient. We wait to see if we can grab those buying opportunities right here at the bottom. And if this level is breached to the downside, the red support and resistance pair, then at that point in time, this pair will fall off our watch list. So hope that's clear as we move on to the last euro pair, which we do have. Here we have the euro against the US dollar. Now, in this situation, this is a brand new entry on our watch list. And our bias here is going to be looking for buying opportunities. Now, one of the first things we also try and point out to identify is what is the market actually doing? What is the market structure? I think this one seems to be very clear, where it does seem that we are just ranging between these two levels, as you can clearly see. So market being in a range, definitely the game plan should be looking for a buying opportunity right here at the bottom. So let's wait to see if we can end up getting this price coming back within this particular area for us to look for buying opportunities. If the price breaks and holds below the red SNR, this pair will fall off our watch list. But if for some event where we find the euro really showing strength and we are able to get the price breaching and holding above within this location, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities. But we definitely need to make sure we manage our trade all the way here at the top. So let's wait to see what ends up happening, and don't be too trigger happy, because we can clearly see that many times the price looks as if it's breaking the air to the upside, but on the pullback's coming quite aggressive and does not actually hold above those areas. So when the markets actually range, do end up expecting a lot of these probes. So you need to wait to see whether or not we can end up getting that confirmation for looking for the buying opportunities. But for right now, since the market structure is a range, let's wait to see if we can end up grabbing those buying opportunities all the way down there at the bottom. So I hope that's clear on the game plan of what we're looking at on the euro pairs. So you can see we've mixed and matched the Swiss franc as well as the euro with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now we're going to move on to the Japanese yen pairs before we do have a look at the indices as well as gold and silver. So we'll start off with the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, yesterday, our bias here was to look for selling opportunities. You can see during the London session, not necessarily much happened. You can see it was within this particular bias area. We did get the price breaching, and we did get a pullback where the price attempted to start coming down lower. So there was a small selling opportunity within this particular area. But you can see at 3 o'clock, first of all, the market was not able to make any new lows, where you can see the market never actually fell below this particular area, it just probes. You can see from 3 o'clock, that's when the price did end up giving us a very big pullback. You can see where the market, similar situation, could not actually hold above this area, was just actually giving us some sort of probes. So today, buyers here is still going to be looking for selling opportunities, just adjusted the level slightly. So overall, we'll definitely be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below the red support and resistance area. So right now, you can see we're within an SNR location where the price has struggled to break to the upside. You can see how many attempts the market has attempted to try and go to the upside. You can see multiple times, but the price seems to be holding below. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening. We can potentially end up grabbing some sort of selling opportunity within here. We do end up getting another probe or price action signal for us to look for selling opportunities, but we do need to make sure we manage our trade within this buyer's area right there at the bottom. So let's wait to see what ends up happening. Right now, no big boy seems to be interested in this because you can see during the Asian session, all we've done is just range between these two levels. This signifies that no big boy is actually interested in buying or selling this pair just yet. But that doesn't mean that the London big boys won't be interested. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening within the market opening times. Remember, that's 10, 3, and 4:30 p.m. So moving on to the next yen pair, we do have the British pound against the Japanese yen. Now, in this kind of pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. It seems the yen pairs did give us a big pullbacks that did come in during the US session. You can see during the Asian session, we're continuing to come down. 10 o'clock during the London market open, did end up attempting to come down lower, but similar situation, we struggled. The price came back in, never held below. We attempted to break this area to the downside, similar situation. It came back in and we're holding above that area. And you can see that was a 3. So it did not necessarily give us any nice selling opportunities at that time. But you can see later on, we did get the price coming to the upside, but we did end up reaching. You can see once we did break this area to the upside, we did get confirmation that the price is holding above, so no selling opportunity just yet. You can see the market didn't manage to get all the way till the extreme area right here. This was a bit later on, around 7:30 or so. What might have been a bit difficult to get, but you can see the sellers area still holding, and we did manage to continue coming down lower, ideally holding within the support and resistance area. So overall today, the bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. Remember, we'll be looking for sales as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. Right now, we seem to be holding just above a particular support area. So definitely we do not want to jump in on any selling opportunity just yet. We'd end up waiting for some sort of breach to the downside. If we do get that pullback coming in, we should be able to look for selling opportunities coming all the way back down towards this particular support and resistance area. But be aware, this is also a major support and resistance area. You do have this blue line right here. So even though you do manage to grab yourself, do make sure you watch out for this location. You could easily find that the buyers could end up reacting within this area right here. The fact that the buyers came in aggressive, sellers not necessarily showing that much aggression. So if you do find the price approaching here and the buyers react very aggressive, you might need to end up managing your trade or possibly scratching this trade. But we'll wait to see what ends up happening. But overall, we should be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. So I hope that's clear on the British pound against the Japanese yen. So let's move on to the next yen pair, which is Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. Similar situation, you can see the same correlation coming in with all these yen pairs. So at 10 o'clock, we did get the price attempting to break this area to the downside. In this situation, we did get a pullback where the price actually held below. So there was a small selling opportunity there. But you can see the market only managed to get towards this location. And this is something that we've mentioned multiple times. The conservative entries, it's not all of them necessarily go very aggressive like we've seen a number of them do. Most of the time, if we do find the market breaking that area to the downside, we do have a support and resistance area that the market pulls back from. We do manage to grab a selling opportunity there. This area right here should be the first place for you to manage your trade. Because you never know. Sometimes the price does this, or at least a lot of the times the price does this, but it manages just to get towards that low before actually turning to the upside. So in this situation, that's exactly what happened. And if you take note of the time at 3 o'clock, that's when the price actually started going to the upside. So today, the bias here is still going to be looking for sales, because you can see even if the price came all the way up, came so close towards the seller's area, you can see the sellers are still holding this market. So remember, we keep on pointing out, as long as we're holding below the red support and resistance area, our bias is going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we'll be focusing on the same areas that we did have yesterday. Right now, we notice we're within a bias area. So no selling opportunity for us just yet. Either we do get that pullback coming in within this seller's area, or we're able to get this price breaching and holding below for us to look for those selling opportunities. But do make sure you manage your trade within this location. Even though you can see the lowest point is right here, this is definitely an area that could give you issues. And I think we did point that same location out on the British pound against the yen. Either this location here or this support and resistance area could end up finding some sort of problem area right there. So do end up making sure you manage your trade within those locations. So Moving on to the second last yen pair that we do have. Here we have the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. Similar situation. The trade worked out very nicely during the Asian session. Unfortunately, at 10, we didn't end up getting a price breaching, or at least attempting to breach the downside. We did get a slight pullback where the market did end up actually attempting to come down lower, but you can't see the same correlation. The market managed to get towards this area right here. In this situation, we did end up getting the price actually pulling back. When the pullback, the price is actually holding above at exactly 3 o'clock. And you can see that when the market did take off to the upside. You can see we did end up holding still within our sellers area, coming down. This support and resistance area do seem to still be holding. So overall here, our buyers is still going to be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. So as long as we're holding below there, we're definitely looking for sales. Right now, what you might easily find, you can clearly see the market structure does seem to be tempting to actually range between these two levels. So if we're looking for a selling opportunity here, do make sure you manage your trade within that location. And now, if we are able to get the price actually able to breach this area to the downside, so let's say, for example, we get the price coming down and holding below, then we should be able to look for selling opportunities on the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. So hope that's clear on this yen pairs. We move on to the last yen pair that we do have. Brand new entry on our watch list. Here we do have the US dollar against the Japanese yen. You can see how similar all of them look like. So overall, we are aware that we should be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. Right now, we do seem to be bouncing off these two levels right here. So similar situation with the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. Could easily find the market just ranging between these two levels. But overall, we definitely want to be looking for selling opportunities. We can end up getting some sort of probe or price action signal for us to look for sales. That should be the case. Make sure to manage our trade within this problem area. But similar situation, if we are able to get the price between and holding below this particular location, we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities all the way till the bottom. But remember, similar situation with all these yen pairs. We do seem to have some sort of support and resistance area right here, where you could easily find the market reacting. So wait to see what ends up happening. But overall, the bias here is going to be looking for sales as long as we're holding up below this red SNR. The price breaches and holds above. Remember, this pair will fall off our watches. So I hope that's clear on all the currency pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched the Swiss franc, the euro, and the yen with all the pairs on the sell side. So right now, we're going to jump on to the commodities and then move on to gold and silver. So we'll start off with the NAS 100, the NASDAQ. So yesterday, our bias here was to look for selling opportunities. You can see the three areas that John had pointed out. Now, during the London session, you can see we did get the price breaching to the downside, but you can see the price just kept on holding within this location. But at 3 o'clock, nothing much happened since we seem to be in the range. But at 4:30, price was holding, or at least it confirmed that this level had been breached and the price was holding below. And it was only at 4:30 that the market did manage to get the energy to come to the downside. But if you did not manage your trade, because you can see the price didn't manage to come down, but the way the buyers came up very aggressive, this was very risky. Because remember, we always want to see a slowdown, or at least in terms of the pullback coming in, we don't want the pullback coming in very aggressive. So you can compare the way the market did come down very nicely, but the pullback, as soon as that first candle came in very aggressive, there should have been some caution within that location. However, the bias yesterday looked for sales. It did work out a bit nicely right there. Did end up getting that pullback coming close towards this particular area here, just missed slightly before it managed to continue coming down lower. And at least in that situation, you can see it was just a probe. Because once the price ended up coming to the upside, because you can see this level seemed to have been holding for quite a bit. Once the price went to the upside, you can see we just came back in, held below within this particular location, where you can see the market did manage to continue coming down. So there was a small opportunity later on, but that might have been a bit difficult to get that. But today, bias here is going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we'll adjust the level slightly. We will be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. So we do have a major support area right here. And it is showing us some very nice signs, but the market could end up continuing to come down low. If you compare how this price ended up coming down. So initially, when we had this big sell that managed to come all the way down, you can see the pullback came in very aggressive. And after that, the market did manage to continue going up. So there was no real pullback or waiting for a selling opportunity here for us to look for a sell. However, if you compare the last time the buyers within this particular area reacted very aggressive, right now as the sellers came down, look at how the buyers are reacting. This is a very good sign for us Those of you who did come for our intermediate class would be able to understand exactly what is happening here, or at least be able to read this pullback that's coming in. We wait to see. We do end up seeing the slowdown of these sellers coming in within this particular area. So the buyers are coming in. We see the buyers struggle. We see the aggressive sellers. We could be able to look for selling opportunities on the NAS 100. We'll wait to see what ends up happening. The price breaches and falls below this yellow support and resistance area. We should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on this pair. So hope that's clear on the NAS 100 as we move on to the Dow Jones, the US 30. Now, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Now, initially, we did end up having the level right here. You can see the market just struggled to actually break this area to the downside. We did not necessarily get a proper breach. It seems that the market kept on holding within this small support and resistance area, where we did not manage to actually get the price to breach the downside. So there was hardly anything for us to look for those selling opportunities. You can see 3 and 4:30, the market side showing signs that the buyers are coming in. 4:30, that's when the buyers really did take off to the upside. So initially wanted to see, once the price went to the upside right here, we could have potentially been in a buyer's market. But remember, in order for us to confirm that it's a buyer's market, we needed the pullback to come in and show us that the price is actually holding above. If we did see that, we could have actually changed our bias and started looking for buying opportunities. But you can see the reason why we keep on encouraging you guys to wait for that pullback to confirm that that level has been broken. If all those people who entered buying opportunities anywhere right here or even here, and they just had their stop losses below here, they could have easily gotten stopped out. Or even if those people who wait, once the price went up, we just had a pending order here, it's not good to just put a pending order. You need to wait to see how that market is going to end up giving us that pullback. And you can see the way the pullback came in, very, very aggressive, a big red candle. So it was not a good sign for us to look for those buying opportunities, or at least that should actually be this caution to look for that buy. And you can see the price managed to come down lower, bounce off this particular area. And you can see we did get that pullback coming in, confirming that the price was actually holding below, where there could have been a small selling opportunity there. Now, I can see John had actually pointed out a particular support and resistance area right here where the market could end up reacting from, because you can clearly see afterwards, the market did manage to come down, couldn't break that level before actually pulling back up. So overall, today, bias here is still going to be looking for selling opportunities. We are still respecting the same areas. So you can see the fact that the market probed there and look at how the buyers are coming in very slowly in comparison to how they came in the last time. So we're still here in a buyer's market. So we'll be looking for selling opportunities. Sorry, a seller's market, apologies. As long as we're holding below this spread support and resistance area, we will definitely be looking for selling opportunities. Let's wait to see what ends up happening. Even though the price looks as if it's broken this area to the upside, this does not necessarily seem like a very convincing breach. What you could easily end up finding is this market actually breaching this area to the downside. And if we do see this price pulling back and holding below, then we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on the Dow Jones. Now, be aware if the price manages to come all the way up, and we do get the price breaching and holding above the red support and resistance area, that's when we will start looking for buying opportunities on the Dow Jones. But for now, we will definitely still be looking for those selling opportunities. So hope that's clear on these indices, the NAS 100 as well as the Dow Jones. So moving on, we'll start off here with silver. Now, on silver yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. And you can see the market did manage to come down during the Asian session. During the London session, you can see, even though we're hoping to see the price breaking and holding below this area, did end up struggling before moving on later. And this was around 2 o'clock. So it was a bit difficult to end up grabbing this selling opportunity, unless you did grab it at 10 o'clock, but you would have just been in on a ride, which could have actually stressed you out a bit. But the market did manage to move down later on, during or just before the US session. And during the US session, we did end up getting a pullback, the price holding within this particular area. So overall today, the bias here, we're still going to definitely be looking for sales. We have adjusted the level slightly. We'll be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. Right now, even though our buyers have come back up to challenge, you can see the sellers still holding after the probe. We did get a pullback and the price coming down lower. Right now, we're within this buyer's area. You can see how many times it has actually probed this location. So let's hope to see. You can end up getting this price actually breaching and holding below this particular area. Then we should be able to look for selling opportunities, making sure to manage our trade within this bottom area right here where the buyers did come in. Remember, with gold and silver, we're purely technical, meaning the price is able to break this support and resistance area, the red support and resistance area to the upside. then at that point in time, we will actually switch our bias and start looking for buying opportunities. And remember, in order for our level to be broken, we need the price to go to the upside, not just go there. We need the pullback to come in to show us that the price is actually holding above that location for us to confirm that it is actually a buy. For now, definitely we will be looking for selling opportunities on silver. So hope that's clear in the game plan of silver. As we move on to the last currency pair, we do have fan favorite, which is gold. Now on gold, yesterday our bias was to look for selling opportunities. Still similar situation today. Yesterday, the market seemed to be in some sort of mess, just ranging between these two levels, both during the London session. Nothing much did end up happening. As you can see, since we did have the level right within this particular area right here, you can see how many times it attempted to actually come down lower. It just ended up coming back to the inside. Next attempt, where you can see the market managed to come to the downside, and on the pullback, the price was actually holding below. At that point in time, we did get confirmation that the price was holding below. And if you look at the time before the market actually started moving to the downside, that was exactly 4:30. So it didn't have giving us a nice selling opportunity at 4:30 to come all the way down. But it seems that during the Asian session did seem as if they're bringing in a bit of strength on gold. But today, bias here is definitely still going to be looking for selling opportunities. So we will be looking for sales as long as we're holding below this red support and resistance area. So as long as we're holding below that area, definitely we will be looking for sales. If the price breaches and falls above that location, that's when we will switch to buying opportunities on gold. But for now, we will focus on these three areas. So the aggressive area right there at the top, right now we're within a buyer's area. So definitely not looking for a selling opportunity where they're buyers. We need these buyers to be breached to the downside. And if you see the price holding below, we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on gold. If this level doesn't hold and we see the price coming back up, we could still end up finding the price approaching this area, giving us some sort of probe or price action signal, because at that time, it would definitely have incited very many people to look for buying opportunities. If the price is holding below, we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities on gold. So I hope that's clear on all the currency pairs. As you can see, we'll mix and match all the currency pairs on the buy side with the pairs on the sell side, as well as the indices and gold and silver. So I can be able to address any questions if there are any. And I'm not seeing much, which is okay. I'm seeing Alan Rono giving a vote of thanks, saying, hi, Mitch, thanks a lot. Karibu sana, Alan. Glad you could join us today as well. So I guess that is it. Not seeing any more questions. Remember, during the London session, there's not much fundamentals. That doesn't mean that the market will not move, but there's a less likelihood that it could end up having as much impact in comparison to when there's a lot of news. But you can see during the US session, we do have a bunch of news, so you end up expecting during the US session some volatility at that time. So basically, for now, our watch list will remain the same. So I guess that's it from me and from us. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have found value in this session. Remember, if you do want more setups, or at least more trade ideas and find out exactly how to look for your entries, feel free to sign up for the Amplified program. So if you go to Afriforex.com, you should be able to find a link right there on the homepage where you can be able to sign up. You do end up scrolling down, you can see our programs. We have a free beginners course. We have the masterclass course, which we do end up having. It's an online course. Then we have the Amplified program. Now, remember, in order to do the Amplified program, you have to have done the masterclass program. So remember, this is a very big foundation. And here on the AMP, we will really go in depth in looking for entries. And remember, we did point out even this cost that we're talking about here, more likely going to end up making it back, since we're going to be looking for trading opportunities as well as we're learning. So we'll be learning actively on the charts. That will give you an opportunity to possibly even pay back the cost of it. So if you are interested, feel free to sign up. The August and September classes are open, but the August classes are filling up quickly. So do make sure to book your spot as well. So I guess that's it for me. I want to thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have an amazing trading day and weekend as well. God bless. Happy trading and bye for now. Cheers, guys.